latest on what the state is calling 2 measles-related deaths in Lancaster County. Days later, little details have been given about them and many questions remain. Seth Kaplan, live in the ABC 27 newsroom with more. Good afternoon, Seth.
Good afternoon to you, James. Yeah, one question a lot of us haven't ever thought about is just how effective the vaccine is. The answer to that question, at least, is reassuring despite all the other reasons for concern. The Pennsylvania Department of Health reports those 2 measles-associated deaths in Lancaster County. The specific details about those deaths, as you said, aren't yet clear, but a top epidemiologist says none of this should surprise anybody. He says if you have enough cases of measles, and you have hundreds in Lancaster County, eventually you do have deaths from measles. More specifically, the death rate historically is about 2 deaths for every 1,000 cases.
Every time out of about 500 cases of measles, 1 will die. And if we have an ongoing outbreak, we will see deaths.
So we shouldn't be surprised by it. And so the math is basically very straightforward. So Dr. John Goldman there of UPMC, you might remember we used to talk to him a lot back during the pandemic. Now haven't had these kinds of stories in a while, and here we are talking again about an outbreak, albeit a very different kind. So we called on him again to sort of help us sort through, okay, just high level, looking at this, what do we know? And he says you don't have to know about the specifics of exactly what happened with those cases to know that eventually, if you have enough cases of measles, you will have a couple of deaths. A lot of people will completely recover. Most people will completely recover from measles and be fine. Some will have long-term effects. And coming up tonight at 5, James, I'm actually going to be speaking with one of those people to talk about how it's not either you completely recover and are fine, or you're one of those very unlucky but rare people who dies. You can have some serious long-term consequences. Talk about that later. But I do want to say this, James. As for the vaccine, this is something that's very different from, if you remember back during the pandemic, we talked about a COVID vaccine. If you have it, you might still get COVID. This is different, where if you have the vaccine, you almost certainly are not going to get measles. The problem is there's some people who can't have the vaccine. Infants used to be up to a year, now up to 6 months, can't have it. Certain ironically, immunocompromised people can't get the vaccine. And so that here's what's changing is those people are more exposed.
Seth, I mean, measles in the news a lot lately, and especially this week. So many questions swirling around, and it's becoming political as well. But it's good to hear from like an actual doctor, to hearing what they have to say. And I'm looking forward to hearing when you say that you're going to actually talk to someone with this and see how they've recovered and what's happened to them since then.
Yeah, and she had it, and I'll tell you, I don't mean to sort of tease it too much. This is somebody who is, she's somewhat older than I am, old enough that when she was born, there wasn't yet the vaccine. And she suffers from long-term hearing loss. She's basically deaf, they're being able to read lips. And so that's the kind of thing, and that was a complication of measles when she was a child. And you can kind of imagine, how somebody like that reacts when they see people not maybe wanting to be vaccinated against something who, again, even if death is rare, there are these other long-term consequences that none of us would want to live with.
Absolutely. All right. Seth Kaplan, thank you so much. Live in the ABC 27 newsroom. We'll look for your full story tonight beginning at 5.
Hi, I'm Eric Finkenbinder from ABC 27. We're excited to announce the new ABC 27 News Plus app. Live stream newscasts or watch content on demand. This is different than the ABC 27 app on your smartphone. You can check this out at home, and it's very easy to use. With a Fire Stick, go to the home page, scroll down to search. From there, enter ABC 27. Move over to the apps, and there we are. Click the icon and install. It's just that easy.